So let's take a look at this setup. Here's a freeze frame, and you can see this is a small dead maple tree. The tree is actually leaning left and back towards the garage. I have already made the notch. I've made the notch about 4 feet, 4.5 feet tall. It's just a little bit below shoulder level. And you can see that the notch is facing directly towards the camera. So the desired direction of fall is directly towards the camera, right across that driveway. Because of the lean of the tree, we have that pull line set up a little bit opposite the lean down the driveway, and it's attached to a skid steer loader. What this is going to do is it's going to protect all those shrubs and that little crabapple that's right next to the garage there from having that tree go back with its lean towards them. And at the same time, between the pull on the rope, the notch, and the lean of the tree, we should be able to direct this thing perfectly right into the desired direction of fall right across that driveway. Now that line has already been pre-tensioned and it's perfectly set up. There's no way that tree can move back because that line is going to hold it. It's not a very heavy tree. We don't need a lot of pull to correct for the lean of the tree. There's no way that operator should start pulling until I give him a hand signal, and I'm not going to give him a hand signal until after that back cut is formed enough to create the type of hinge I want to create on this tree. If he starts pulling early, he could either break the top out or pull that tree over from the roots, which ends up being exactly what happens. Now, I assumed that that operator, who's an experienced arborist, but he does not have a lot of experience operating equipment in this situation, would have known that. So it was my mistake for not getting clear with him before starting the fall of this tree exactly what we were going to do, to make sure we were both on the same page. Let's see what happens. Fortunately, it was a situation where nothing was in danger here. I saw the top starting to move, and I just assumed the hinge was opening up. I honestly, I swear, I can't replay it in my mind. Was that back cut starting to open, and then the whole thing went, or was it just the whole thing moving out of the way at the same time? But you can see what happened here. She just pulled right up, and here, what do we got here? Like 5 feet up to where I was trying to cut it to shorten up the fall across the driveway 5 feet. So we might have broken 1 or 2 branches on that little cherry over there. We're going to have to prune that anyhow. But more importantly, let's take a look. Let's take a look. This was a nice notch. Nice open face notch here. Definitely 70 degrees plus on the high side. Nice and level with the back side. So this was probably 3 inches. So the back cut wasn't fully formed yet. I may have called for that pull a little early. I'm not sure. I was looking for that top to start moving. And when it started moving, I called for the pull. Or not, you know what? I called, when it started moving, I thought it was moving a little bit too far this way, to the left of these pads. I put a couple pads in the driveway so I didn't scratch the driveway up with those sticks coming down. And I called for the pull to stop. But by that point, the whole thing was coming over. So anyhow, it's a good lesson. Let's review this tape. Listen to him throttle up the skid steer right here. Just barely finishing the notch here. Throttle the skid steer up. He had enough pull on there. He should not be pulling that line until I give him the signal. All right? No need. That tree's not moving. That pull line's set nice and high. If he pulls that line too early, he could kill me. The top of that tree could break out and land on my head. So now I just barely start the back cut and watch what happens. There, a branch breaks out of the top tree. Obviously, he's putting more pull on it. The branch slides down the rope. You can see he keeps pulling. And I wave my hand there. Now, maybe he thinks I'm trying to tell him to keep going. I'm trying to tell him to stop. So let's take one more look at it in slow motion. All right? I start into the back cut. Now my head just looks up right there. I look up. I'm looking for movement in the top of the tree. It's way early in the back cut now, but he starts to pull. He should not be pulling at all until he gets a hand signal from me. I look back down for a second, look back up. Now he's broken the branch and he just keeps pulling. Now I raise my hand, I say stop, stop, but he doesn't understand. He just keeps driving. He just keeps pulling, and those roots gave way. If those roots hadn't been bad, maybe he would have broken the top of that tree out. Thank God the roots were bad. And the way, fortunately, we had the thing set up properly so that there's no way that tree could fall back into the garage or hit those other shrubs around there. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something here. I know I learned a very important lesson here myself, to make sure that as a faller, I have to be in good communication with whoever's in charge of that pull line to make sure they don't pull early. They need to not pull until I give them the hand signal, and they need to know that ahead of time, every time.